The Circle of Hope pastors are here. We're answering a question that someone asked us. We call this "Someone Asked," and today we're asking about hardship. How do you deal with hardship? And the way that we're talking about it is by sharing personal stories about how we've experienced hardship and how it worked out with our faith and with God. Recently, I had a dear friend who I think of as a lifelong friend. A lot of changes happened in his life, and our friendship suffered as a result. We grew apart, we became less intimate, and something changed in how we related. And it really hasn't resolved itself. I still have this severed tie, or at least it feels severed to me, like something's different, and I'm not sure what to do about it. But it still brings me a lot of pain. It's still real hard for me to cope with it and to hold it. And the way that God is meeting me in it just by accompanying me in my own suffering and my own pain. Um, there's no magical resolution there for me, at least right now. But I realized that it was simply the result of being in a relationship, having an attachment, caring for somebody else. The risk of love is suffering. And I don't want to have it any other way. I could avoid all these relationships and I guess subsequently avoid suffering, but also avoid love and avoid joy. And
Mm,
so I think it's as painful as it is, it's a worthy risk. So that's what I'm feeling right now.
I relate to that. I feel that as a parent. Recently, my son had to deal with a lot of stuff for a long time at school that I wish I could have protected him from. And actually, lots of people did ask me, are you just going to pull him out? Are you going to put him in a different school? And I think that is sort of, especially as a parent, the instinct in suffering or watching someone you love to suffer is to retreat, is to try to control and shelter and protect. But that wasn't even really an option. And I think so. This isn't always the case, but I think for me in this instance, I had to ask for help. I kept having to ask God for help in navigating this as a parent, and then I had to ask other people for help. I think how God did meet me in it was to direct me to ask to reach out to other parents, and it was like an opportunity to make connections with other people and not be alone in how painful it was for me as a parent and their pain for their children too. Um, and a lot of good came out of that. It did not and really change the situation for our kids, but it did change our experience of it. And we were, I think that translates. I can't say directly, but I think that translates to our kids in some way. So to not just retreat, but to ask for help and to reach out. Um,
yeah.
yeah.
And in so doing, you made Jesus known. You kind of organized something that only like a, at least like a person who knows how to organize stuff would do it. Like
And
you,
Jesus was made known to me too. Like I want to be
oh,
clear, like both it was an opportunity to make the love of Jesus known to the other parents around me, but also Jesus met me. I needed it as much as they did, and that was kind of the miracle of it.
yeah,
That's
that
wonderful.
help. That's good. I don't I don't often seek help. Um, and I might and I don't even often I often end up not even aware that I'm in like a terrible jam that like uh, things are going poorly and we are we're not going to make it through this, or I'm not going to make it through this. I'm just kind of blissfully unaware, which could which might be self-absorption, and I end up being stuck uh, in kind of a cycle of just like bouncing from one thing to another because I'm not always even aware that I'm experiencing hardship. Uh, the big story in my life right now is that I got this virus in my eye that was stress related, apparently, according to the doctors, and I wasn't even aware that I was stressed out.
Mm.
So like that has been a parable for me, you know, like my body showed me my, like, I wasn't even aware. So like for me, like suffering hardship is not like a big part of my life, but it actually is. So like what I'm learning about hardship is that like I need to stop, reflect, feel, and like kind of pay attention to what's going on inside of me, because I might just be like, you know, set off from it. So um, I think hardship for me is an opportunity, because it's like a part of me that needs exploration.
Mm. Ben, I can so relate to that. I somehow internalized this expectation for myself growing up that like I needed to have all the answers, make it happen. You know, I can remember, you know, I think this is a very common American thing, this kind of like being self-made. I can remember my dad with lots of military sayings, but one of them was cooperate and graduate. And that was just sort of like a motto for life, you know, just like do it and do it well and make it happen. And so it's been so refreshing to me knowing Jesus now and this invitation to feel what we feel and like be vulnerable, but I have to practice it. I have to work at that consciousness. But it's really refreshing that I can be accepted in my weakness, and even that's where the Holy Spirit comes in and meets me and empowers me. In our weakness, He is strong. So that I hold in that irony.
Thank you, pastors, here for your vulnerability. It really is unlocking to hear people tell their stories of their hardship. And I hope that you, as you're watching this, also feel the capacity and the courage to share your story and share time when times have been difficult for you and how God's met you, or how God maybe hasn't, and you need help finding God in your story. A great place to do that, and my cell just experienced this, is right in our cell meetings. We've organized our whole church around these circles of 10. And if you want to get connected to one and share some intimacy and connection with others, we have a list of them on our website. But you can also come to one of our Sunday meetings where one of our cell leaders will introduce themselves to you and direct you to a cell that works for you. So thanks for listening. God be with you.